Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. This is Ray Ray All Day, and you can also catch me on IG at All Day Ray Ray. Just a little flip of the words, okay? You gonna hear me talk about and give my opinion and my rationale and my whatever on these ladies, on the Housewives, Atlanta Housewives, the number one show, from what I understand. But that first scene with Candy and her daughter, with Kenya and her daughter, was so cute just to see them growing up. Of course, we love to see the babies grow up throughout the years, and folks talking and playing and doing all kind of things. So they get into it, talking about the business. Kenya's having a problem with distribution and, overseas issues, and it's just taking forever. And she's trying to stock the shelves of these major companies that has agreed to sell her products in their store. I mean, worldwide stores. If they are worldwide, definitely throughout the countrywide, okay? Continental and little wherever, countrywide, period. I hope that it works out for her. I'm glad that Candy understood and can give her some sound advice. But luckily, Kenya has a team, and the team is working it out as they often do. The right team. She knows the key players that needed to be on the team, assembled the team, and now she's making sure the team is doing what they're supposed to do, which is how a boss do. All right now, Kenya, good for them, good for them. And then they start to discuss Marlo, and Candy brings up the fact of Marlo kicking the nephews out, which is kind of crazy, right? They're both, coming from where Candy experienced what Marlo's going through. Candy's just, concerned about the boys' mental health with everything they're going through, from how they got to Marlo to why they're not with Marlo. She's concerned about them, as I am too. I understand, because it's not to see, adults and kids are wired differently. Kids still don't have that discernment level of understanding that adults do when it comes to emotions. And they're still raw from their mom, by them not being able to be with their mom. But that one thing about punching holes in walls and destroying property, she needs to keep an eye. She needs to hone in on that and bring in some heavy artillery, because that could be an indication that he is in the same manner of his mom. Those genetics do play a part. Okay. And if it is so severe as Marlo states, she needs to hone in on the destruction of property, not just leaving clothes stuffed in the attic. I'm talking about destroying property to where repair is necessary. That needs to be checked hard at the time. Woo, child, Marlo got it. Marlo got it. Anyway, so they're just talking about it and, discussing business. And then they go shoot to Sheree discussing business with whomever she talking to. And then it was very quick scene because the reception on the end of the other person just, froze. So I hope that's not an indication of She by Sheree. Next, we got Sam talking a lot with her sister about deals, and they got these great fitness deals going off, and looks like it's gonna be a Jamaica trip. That's the next outing for the people. All expense paid. All right, they must got it going on. Gotta check out iFit. Mm, mm, mm. Next, we got Marlo playing dress up. Okay, that was a cute little bottom. That was kind of cute. Candy playing with Ace, and they're shooting balls at each other, and I guess I get you before you get me games, and just playing around. And then it was the end of that, and then Candy's has her assistant helping her out packing, and she's trying to figure out what she's trying to wear. So she ends up calling Marlo, who's leading this trip, and they're talking, and Candy tells Marlo that Kenya ain't coming. And Marlo's like, well, whatever. We're still going to have a good time, and talking about what they're going to wear. You know how girls do. Kikiing in the closet. What else Marlo saying? And that was it. And then the next scene, we got Marlo again talking about the boys with the sister. Her sister comes over and shows her the room, and just the sister is thinking the boys did this, and Marlo was like, no, I pulled all this from the attic. They were just stuffing clothes in the attic and not putting them up. And she found some wet clothes, mildewy and all these other things that she's trying to, and it's all, they're mad and upset. So, hey, I get it. It's like, what the hell's going on? All this shit stuff. But Marlo is not checking up on them. She's not doing the proper, full spectrum of making sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do. As parents, we're all guilty of it at some point. So, and I don't understand why Marlo doesn't follow through. She makes sure that money is right, but she's not following through on her roles and responsibility for parenting. So Marlo needs to get that together. Perhaps if she got that together, she may not have had to kick them out. As she stated, she needs a break, a 30-day break, child. So she's sending her sister some money. They moving into a bigger place just for 30 days. I guess it's a consolation prize, right? I guess. I'm just asking. Just asking the question. I'm just asking the question. My notes. What my notes say? Yeah, 30 days off, girl. Anyway, the next scene, Sheree. Okay, they all meeting up, and Sheree describes how she injured her foot. I'm like, ooh, and then the doggone production makes some cracking noises when she describes at the point of no return is when the fractured bones sound. I'm like, oh, you can just hear it. Anyway, yeah. So apparently she, that degenerative joint disease is a mother. Osteoporosis is, AARP, all that stuff is hidden, perhaps, allegedly. I don't know. I'm just talking mess. Yeah. So her pinky out of position, pinky toe out of position. Whew. Anyway, we get a surprise visit, of course, by Kenya. She shows up anywho. After all, Marlo is a little perturbed. So Marlo challenges Kenya at the dinner after Kenya and her are talking about things. They're really trying to straighten it out. And then Marlo just, kind of does Marlo and interrupts the flow. And they're kind of back to where they were. But Kenya has her own boudoir outside of this residence and promises to be around. But her daughter is coming since she has her own residence in the immediate area. And Marlo doesn't like that. Marlo pretty much put her foot down and was like, well, if you're not going to stay here, you can't participate in the things that I have lined up for everyone. And Kenya was like, of course, they're not agreeing on that. And Kenya insisted that she will be around participating anyway, although she won't be staying with the ladies the whole time that she's here. And they kind of go off from that. I'm like, Marlo, she's just challenging Kenya, but Kenya did the same thing. She was challenging people in a way that was a little obscure, but it was a far-fetched way of thinking, but it's still respected as someone's thought process and just being who they are, I guess. So, but we all know it's BS because they can be this way over here and a different way over there, and with this person and that person. So it's also, very subjective. And that's why people call people out on it, because it's BS. Why are you choosing to behave this way when such and such, such and such and such and such? But anyway, where was I? Apparently, Drew is still, hanging on the feelings about her and Sanya's blow up in the previous episode that we saw, questioning her man about whether or not they're busy, and Drew took offense to that, and Sanya was like, girl, it ain't even that serious. Let's just move on from that. It wasn't that deep. Well, Drew was like, it was that deep for me. Drew was looking for a moment. I think, it's really not that deep. And, it's just something to expound on, to take away from the fraudulence of Drop It with Drew. Okay, everybody saw the fraudulence. #fraudulent. Yeah, they met the real owner. They clarified some things, and it is what it is. Drew, if you're going to lie, make sure your lie can't be overturned. That's all I'm saying. But Sanya got some good news. She came around, and after her meeting with iFit, it was her and her husband, because of course her husband is a Super Bowl champion. Both of them were invited through iFit to represent their company in some deals and things that they got going. And they're inviting the cast to an all expense paid to Jamaica. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's Montego Bay, I'm sure. Can't wait to go to Jamaica. Can't wait to go to Jamaica. Anyway, that was the big news. And I was like, that was good news, better than hearing about what everything else going on. Sheree broke foot. Marlo's broken home, and all this brokenness going on. It's good to hear that Sanya got something going. So, of course, going to be some mess in Jamaica. Don't know why. But, of course, people got to make that money, honey. But, yeah, that was Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 10. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. See you next time. Bye.